Should record like that whole part, but yeah. Welcome back, people. This is episode 42 of the Mindset Effect podcast. Today we're going to be talking about, being a pushover or being somebody that's too nice and gets just shoved around, somebody who can't make decisions. This is something that's like super personal in my life, especially with like my family and I,
Yeah, so we're gonna be
because
focusing like mainly on the business aspect of this, not like the
yeah,
relationship aspect. You can go
yeah.
to YouTube, watch videos about that, but we're gonna be talking about business stuff, like why you should not be a nice guy.
hmm Yeah, yeah, and I do think that these are really related, though. Also, with like business stuff and relationship stuff. But like for example, my family, if we'd got to eat, there are like 8 of us, and nobody would be able to make a decision, and so everybody's just getting pushed around by whoever is going to actually stand up and make the decision. And so a lot of people end up not getting what they want because they're too scared to voice their opinions. And I think a lot of this goes and directly applies to business related stuff. Whether it's like getting a job or if it's like actual business deals, people are okay with settling. And I think you've really got to decide what you want, and you've got to be willing to stand up for it. Whatever you think is right for you. You have to be able to negotiate. They talk about, the less agreeable that you are, the more money you make. And this is because you can actually stand up for yourself and you can
Yeah, up
defend
to a
yourself.
point. Like if you're too disagreeable,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
pretty
Yeah.
bad.
Obviously. Yeah. Yeah. But like, you can actually negotiate and you can like fight for that higher salary. And I think it also means that you're smart enough to build in leverage, maybe and go and interview at separate companies too and be like, I have counter offers here. So, what you going to do about it? And I think that's a really valuable thing to have.
100%. Yeah. So job negotiations. I guess for me, like, I think the main thing about job negotiations is like you got to know your own value, right? So I think a lot of people, they settle, like you say, they settle. A lot of the times they agree to the first proposal that the company makes, because I guess they're needy, right? Like because you don't want to
Mhm.
lose a job, because sometimes like you have that fear of hey, if I raise the offer, will they just straight up reject me and shit? But like I think you have to consider like the fact that you got to the final stage, the fact that they're willing to offer you the compensation means that they want you, like they have, like they're like the company sort of needed to an extent, right?
Mhm.
And so I think you consider that, and you can, like, if you feel the compensation is not where you'd like it to be, you can always raise it up. And yeah, so just know your own value. Super
Yeah. And
important.
I think something
Dude,
else
it's
that
actually
holds
insane. Holy
people.
fuck! Like as an intern, I swear to God, so I get paid. I don't even get paid that much, and I'm fine with it because like I'm an intern. I don't really care about how much I get paid, but like it's insane. I get paid like I think like 4 or 5 times less than people that work full time, like per hour.
Mhm.
And I actually do like way more work than people that work there full time. It's insane. Well, like,
I mean,
and I work less. I work less too, and I do more than them. And I was just thinking like how much money I've saved fucking the company so far, because they would probably have to pay like extra, a few like tens of thousands extra, a year for someone full time versus me. So
hmm
it's insane.
Yeah,
Like,
and I mean, I think like that's an argument that you could like try to make, and actually, this goes into the point I was going to make is like I think so many people are afraid, kind of. This goes off what you said too, that we're going to be judged for like standing up for ourselves, and the company's going to be like, oh, he tried to stand up for himself. We don't like that, And I think that's something that'll actually be promoted, even if they have to pay you more money. You're gonna have a lot
well,
of
fuck,
people
you
that are
don't want
gonna
to work at a
admire
company
you.
like that if they fucking don't
Yeah,
like you.
yeah, that too. Yeah, if they're not going to treat you well, then you don't want to work there anyway. But like I think a lot of people are going to admire you for standing up for yourself. And so it's the complete opposite of what you think. It's like people aren't going to judge you as much as they're going to admire you. It's the same principle of nobody cares about yours because they're all worried about their own. It's like you can go and
I
stand up
love
for
that quote.
yourself. Yeah, yeah. But like you can stand up for yourself, and you're gonna have a lot of people who are going to be a lot more impressed than anything, especially people that don't have the confidence to do it themselves. And who knows, you might even give someone else the confidence to go and try it for themselves too.
Interesting. I don't think anyone would know though if you actually did stand up for yourself,
No, but I
because
think
it's
in just
just
like
between you
general,
and the interview.
yeah. I mean, if you're speaking just about like negotiations, yes. But I've talked to people who were kind of proudly talking about how they negotiated also. So like, I think there are outlets that people can put out there, but like even that ties into building like self-esteem. I think people get it wrong, and they're like, "Oh, I can just say that I have self-esteem, and it's going to happen." I think
That's an
self-esteem is like,
aspect. That is an
yeah,
aspect of it.
mhm.
But
And
there's definitely
self-esteem
more.
to me is like trust. It has to be built. If you look at yourself and you're like, man, I'm completely unreliable. I don't do anything with my life. I'm bored all the time. I have no meaning. Then like obviously you're not going to have any kind of self-esteem. But if you can look at yourself and be like, look at all these things that I've accomplished. Look at how I've improved over the last 2 years. Like if you have something to actually look at and be like, wow, this person that I'm looking at, I like them a lot, I think you have a lot more self-esteem. And so it's like to really develop self-esteem, I think it really is predicated on like taking action and actually doing things that like if you were looking at an external person, would you be like, wow, that person's really, really awesome. And if you can't look at yourself and be like, I really like this person, like you need to do something about it.
Yeah, 100%. So I think, yeah, so that's another important aspect of, stop being a nice guy. So like focusing on yourself, developing your own skills. So like when
Hmm.
you do go out, when you do pursue certain things, like you have that extra confidence, right? And belief in yourself because you've done stuff in the past. Like it's pretty insane. Like if like Andrew tells, someone like about what he's done so far and told them his age, like they'd be fucking impressed. Like that's the kind of impression you want to leave on people. Like you want, yeah, I think like once you get to the point of where people are chasing you, like that is like that's like the peak, in my opinion. So
Hmm. I agree 100%. And I think that just like, again, going back to trust, you build trust in yourself because you can actually trust yourself. It's the same, again, as like if you're trusting a friend, if I ask this person to go do this thing, can I trust them to do it? You should have that same relationship with yourself. And again, it's like taking that action, I think will really help you develop that. And so like standing up for yourself is like a fantastic way to build that. And so many people don't stand up for themselves. And I think that's one reason that you see a lot of
yeah, so
lack of self-esteem.
I think the reason why is like it's the initial hurdle, right?
Hmm.
It's like it's they never do it, right? Because the fear of doing it the first time. I think once you get over the first hurdle, it's so much easier. It's like anything you do. There's always the initial resistance, and once you do it more, the resistance goes down, and it becomes easier and easier to do. It's the same thing, right?
Hmm.
And I think when it comes to building your own self-esteem, like the more you do, I think failure is so important. Like the more you fail, the more you learn, the quicker you learn actually, and you did wrong, and I think you are just much more confident going in next time. So,
Hmm. I 100% agree.
um, but yeah, so there's also this principle of like in business, you like if you want to ask for a raise, right? So we're gonna be focused on business this episode, so so we talked about actually getting so we talked about the initial stage of you get a job offer and you negotiate certain compensation. And I think the other biggest struggle in at a job is like how do you ask for a raise, right? So I think a lot of people, they just play it too nice and they never actually get a raise. Like they can like I remember my mom telling me about like she knows this coworker that's been working at the company for like 5 years or something, and they still are in the same position, still making the same salary. It's insane.
Hmm.
And so like I think and like why is it, right? Like it's just like they might have asked for a raise but like they didn't get it. And I think
Hmm.
um the principle here is like don't ask, like suggest, right? Because I think when you ask, like you give a lot of your power away because you're being needy to an extent. So I think you suggested by like being like, hey, I've done all this work this year, and I think it'd be great if I could get a raise or something. Like
Hmm.
suggest the fact, but don't like outright ask for it. So
Yeah.
I think like I think that puts you in a position of equal like value as your boss or your the person you're asking for a raise. So
Yeah. And I think you have to really look at like what your priorities are. So many people will complain about, like, oh, this person got a raise and I didn't. And, I think you have to look at how important is this to you? If it's important enough that you're complaining about it, you need to do something about it. Go to your boss and talk to them. And if they're not going to give you the raise, if you have the audacity to complain about it, then that means it should be important enough to you that you are willing to like go somewhere else and like find a counter offer or something to get the raise that you need. Because I think there is a lot of merit to the idea of needing something. If you look at so many of the greatest people on the planet, it wasn't just like oh, I want to become super wealthy, or I want to accomplish this. It's like I need to accomplish this. I need to be this kind of person. And I think at that point, you're almost willing to go farther than most people are willing to go. And I think there's honestly a lot of evil in that people kind of notice. This is why people hate on the rich so much, is there is a little bit of selfishness in that, I think. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I think, humans are kind of innately supposed to be a little bit selfish, but I think the value that we provide from trying to be selfish ends up creating a better world for everyone. And so
Wait, can
like, I
you
think,
expand on that point? Expand on that
yeah,
point.
like,
Because that's a really
so many
interesting point.
yeah, like so many people hate on just other rich people for being selfish or whatever, because they're trying to build businesses, they're trying to do things that'll help make their future better. And what these people don't realize is all of the things that they are building is actually providing value to others and making their lives easier. You can hate on Jeff Bezos as much as you want, but you can't say that he hasn't greatly impacted the planet from all of the stuff that he's done with Amazon. Like, you can go and order all this stuff online, and you wouldn't have been able to do that without him taking all these risks and him building a life for himself. And so I think in a lot of cases in business, again, money is the transfer value. And so the more money someone's making, it's more likely it is that they're providing more value to other people.
I think part of the reason people hate on Jeff Bezos, all these people, is like, I think frankly, most people don't like being the center of attention. They
Mm-hmm.
really don't. And I think I think these successful people, they're all fine with being the center of attention, right? Like, they're fine with, people talking shit about them behind their backs, you know, and
Mm-hmm.
like, they're comfortable sharing their vision with others and their goals with others. And I think that gives people the chance to really admire and respect them. So there's
Yeah.
always
And
that
these
self aspect.
And again, it's like these people are not pushovers. These people are people who are standing up for what they believe in. They're like, I'm gonna
Yeah.
fight for this to work. I'm not gonna just give up.
Yeah, and like, they're nice people. Like, they're pretty good people, but like, not nice like to like a like freaking insane extent. So
Yeah. Yeah. It's
um
like I think there's definitely that difference. If we say, don't be Mr. Nice Guy, it's like, be as nice to other people as you can, but be willing to stand up for yourself and to fight for something. Like I think you can't be 100% good. It's like the saying that I always use. There's no virtue in being harmless. You can think that being harmless, and being the rabbit, you're going to be virtuous, but no, the lion is going to be the one that's virtuous, because he can be dangerous if he needs to. He can stand up for things if he needs to. He can fight back if he needs to, but he doesn't unless he needs to. And so I think that's really the big point and the big takeaway is like, be somebody who can be dangerous and who can stand up for things, but don't use your ability of causing harm unless you actually need to, unless you need to protect somebody or to protect something.
Interesting. Yeah, I think Elon Musk is such a good example of someone who is, who perfectly like, he's like he's pretty nice, but he's also like, he knows what he's doing.
Hmm.
He's super funny, charismatic, and dude, it's like, have you like heard of his tweets where like he's tweeted before, like, Tesla stock is too high, and and
Yeah.
like it goes down? It's insane. Or like, some bad news happens to Tesla, and like, he's always willing to share it. And I think that is such a key quality of not being a nice guy, right? Because I think most nice people, they don't want to share bad news. They don't want to like leave a bad impression on people,
Yeah.
and that's what I think Elon Musk does so right. Like, that's what makes him so popular, so charismatic, because like, he's willing to share bad news with people, shareholders, people who like him, and he's willing to deal with ramifications. Like,
Mhm.
he says shit and stock goes down, and I think he's totally fine with that. And I think it's better to share the bad news sooner or later. So
Yeah. And I think this is like, being true to yourself and being like unapologetically you and telling people that. I think, obviously you're going to get a lot of haters doing this, but you're going to get a lot of people that are going to love you. I
respect
think
you, yeah.
I've never had so many people that respect me individually until I started being like, I'm going to be me. I'm going to do what I want to do. And I'm not going to apologize for it. I'm going to tell you this up front. When I have calls with people, I always am like, just say what you want to say, do you. I'm not going to judge you for it. And I'm gonna do the same for me. And it's like, if you don't like what I have to say, that's fine. I don't really care. And I think like being upfront with people and making sure that your brand is built around that can really provide a lot of value, because people are like, this person stands up for themselves. and it puts like a good taste in a lot of
Yeah,
people's
it's
mouth.
there's definitely a transparent aspect of it too, because
Hmm.
when you like when you tell someone, like when you're upfront about something and like you actually give the other person sort of expectation to have, and I think that give like so like you might tell someone like, hey, um this might take me 2 weeks, but like I might like run into some troubles like in between, like so you're basically telling them that you might not be as good as they thought you were, but like that
Hmm.
gives them a sense of comfort too. So
Yeah, and I think just like
sharing your flaws.
striving to be honest, especially because you don't have anything to hide if you're completely honest, and I think that alone is just makes it all worth it. Because I've been somebody who was hiding things, and that stress on your mind is just not a good thing to have. And it's a little bit of a tangent, but that's also something
Yeah,
that's like
especially when you
really
lie. Yeah,
valuable.
it
Hmm.
like hurts the soul. So
Yeah.
100%. Any additional thoughts?
No, I think we hit it pretty hard.
Yeah, I like these shorter formatted episodes.
Same.
Hopefully everyone listening likes these too. Yeah, we don't ramble as much anymore.
Yeah.
Got to deliver that value straight up without
Yeah.
like
Hashtag value.
hashtag value, dude. But yeah, I think that's it for this episode. Covered a lot of points. Hopefully you guys can learn something from this. Apply to your own life. Maybe get a raise. Get that new job. Stop being the nice guy, and yeah. So make sure to check us out on YouTube, of course, and make sure to check our Spotify out. Give us a review on iTunes, and yeah, see you guys next
I
time.
also wait, no, sorry. No, I also have a email newsletter that I started a few weeks ago. So if you guys want to be notified when new episodes drop, sign up for that too.
Yeah, it's on you can just go to the
Oh yeah,
website or
yeah,
homepage, and like all our links are there. So like you can
yeah,
probably just click his website and sign up for his
yeah. But
newsletter.
if you don't want that, it's just tinyletter.com/a
Isn't it
Gunderman.
tiny URL?
Or wait, what is it? I'm
It's
blanking
tiny
now.
URL, dude. Holy
It might
fuck.
be tiny URL.
You are
Is
tripping,
it?
dog. So it's tiny
Wait,
tiny
no, it's
URL
tiny
what?
letter. It's
Tiny letter?
tinyletter.com.
Okay.
I was right. Yeah, tinyletter.com/a Gunderman10.
Okay.
That's what it is.
You need to change the name. It's too long. I don't think anyone's gonna type it, so it's too long.
I've had plenty of people that have, so you
A
know what?
Gunderman 10, dude.
Yeah, I do
Yeah,
need to
okay,
fix.
yeah.
My last name's just long, so
Yeah, sign up for his newsletter. Um yeah, just do it. And
yeah,
yeah,
just do
peace guys.
it. Peace.
Nike.